What's up? Happy Saturday. Welcome to the 5 Reasons Gambling Show. It is me, Sean Rochester, here again. We're going to break down the competition on Bettor Edge today, talk a little bit about the horse race today, the Kentucky Derby, maybe a little MLB, but going mostly through the competition. So that competition is always on Bettor Edge, as always, my favorite gambling platform, one of the sponsors of 5 Reasons Sports. What's different about Bettor Edge is it is a peer-to-peer marketplace. You are not betting with fees and VIG as you would in other sports books. Here it is peer-to-peer. You're betting against someone else on the other side of the state, world, country, wherever it's legal. Basically, every state in the United States is legal. I think Utah is like one of the only two. So make sure you're checking that out. It's probably legal in your state. It's easy to get signed up. If you use the code 5RSN, you get $20 from 5 Reasons Sports to get yourself signed up and get yourself going. And you can take it from there. There's player props, spreads, totals. Today, a great day, a great Saturday of sports. There's horse racing, there's hockey, there's baseball, there's NBA, soccer. Basically, any sport you can think of is on there now. So it's a great place. You can always find great value in terms of line value compared to your other marketplaces. So make sure you're checking that out on Bettor Edge. And what I'm going to talk about today is specifically about our competition that we have going on. We do this with Bettor Edge. The NBA Central, 5 Reasons Sports. And today is a special competition. It is simply beat me. Beat Sean Saturday, unfortunately. Hopefully I win in other cases, but hopefully for your sake, you can beat me in this competition. What we're going to do is basically it is a competition where all you have to do is pick 10 plays. And when you pick those 10 plays, you have to get more right than I do. And if you do that, you win. If one person beats me, they take the whole pot. If 2 people beat me, they split the pot. If I get better than everyone else, then I take down the pot. So the odds are that I'm not going to win. But the challenge is that you have to be able to pick better than I do. And what's making this easier is not only do you only have to just beat me, I'm going to give you my picks ahead of time. So we are now roughly about 4.5 hours away from the tip of the Heat-Knicks game. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to pick, and then you can go out there and either follow, which would not be great in a competition setting, but probably fade or pick other things so that you have a better path to victory. So going to go through this competition. These lines are frozen. They will not change. So if there was some drastic injury announcement, whether it's in the Knicks Heat game or in the late game with the Lakers and Warriors, they will not change. And sometimes that's a huge advantage in the competition because you have lines that are frozen. But we're going to start talking first about the Heat and the Knicks. As a 5 Reasons Sports contributor, it's definitely something that I am focused on. I was at game 1 in New York. Game 2 obviously did not go our way, but we're coming back home. Game 3, we've won both of our games at home in the playoffs this year, and it should be a rocking crowd for an afternoon matinee in Miami. So I'm going to break down this game, really looking at the first action and starting with the most simple, the sides and totals. Looking at what we have in the competition, 3 to 3.5. And I'm going to go out of the marketplace real quick just to show some of the features of Bettor Edge while I'm doing this. You can already see, the line in the marketplace is 4. If we go into the game specifically and look at external prices just to compare to other places, 3.5 in the competition, you're seeing mostly 4s. You got a 4.5, 3.5, so we're getting value no matter what on the Miami Heat, whether it's just a half a point, but that can be the difference, if you get a push versus a win if the game ended on a 4. But I am going to go with the Heat minus 3.5. It may be me being a homer, and that's fine if people think that I'm a homer, but I'm going to go with the Heat coming back home, game 3. They haven't lost at home in this postseason. You get Jimmy Butler back today. Well, we're assuming that Jimmy Butler is going to play. That's all the reporting is. And I just think the home crowd is going to be rocking. The Knicks really almost lost game 2. And I think the 3.5 is a good number, basically a 2-possession game. It's still going to be a close game, most likely. But 3.5 is good enough for me to take the Miami Heat. The other part about that I'm going to go with is the total. And I'm going to go under 209. So looking at the last 2 games, the pace of these 2 teams is very slow. Game 1, the pace was about 95 possessions each. Game 2 was slower, around 88 possessions each. I think if the game falls in between those 2 numbers, you're looking at an under total unless these teams shoot lights out. And if you look back at the course of the season, neither of these teams are great shooting teams. Yes, the Miami Heat are shooting the ball well in the playoffs, but I don't necessarily think that that's going to be something that's going to deter me from going with an under. I think both these teams would love to make this game slow-paced, in the mud, grinded out basketball. Not going to be like Heat Knicks of the 90s where we're going to see like a 85-79 final, but under 209. I think I said this last game during our live stream on Playback. Make sure you check that out. We'll do it again today on playback.tv. I said the first team to 100 is going to win every game in the series. And I think the case is to be made that with a total of 209, that's first team to 100 today is probably going to win too. So that's my second play, Heat Knicks under 209. Let's jump back into the marketplace, get into the competition, and look at some of these player props. So if you're not familiar with player props, it's a lot of fun. You can bet these individually on the marketplace also. But you're looking at, points, rebounds, assists, things like that for certain players. It's something that a lot of people enjoy doing. It's very easy to go research, see kind of trends of what they're doing and matchups and things like that against certain teams. So here we go with the Heat Knicks player props. My third play for the competition is going to be the man that's returning tonight is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's line for points is over 27.5. In the playoffs, he's averaging 35.5 points per game. He may be the best player in the playoffs right now. He's went over that total 4 out of 6 playoff games so far. And the 2 games that he did not go over it, one of them was game 1 against the Knicks, so that's a good thing to note. But over 4 out of 6, the 2 that he did not go over was a 25-point game in both cases. So he's been right at that number both times. It is a plus money. So if you want to go on the marketplace, you might be able to get plus money on this if you think Jimmy's going to blow up in game 3 in Miami. I have confidence in Jimmy. I think the ankle is okay. If you've been following his Instagram and all those different things, stories, he was out shooting last night. He was walking around New York. I think they were cautious about game 3 or game 2 and how they held him out. But I think that he's going to be back today. I think he's going to be 100%. And I think even though I think the game is going to be low scoring, I think he's going to be carrying a lot of that load to get the Heat, hopefully cover that 3.5 and get the win today. My next prop, still staying with the Miami Heat, and a guy that's really stepped up this season, and I would love to bet his points. Let me just take a peek at that in the marketplace. Digital markets. What is Gabe Vincent's points? Not in the competition. It's not one of the props that are offered. Do we have Gabe Vincent over 13.5 points? I think that's a pretty good line. No action on it yet, but I would probably lean over that, and that's going to give you a key on what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to look at Gabe Vincent, not points, but Gabe Vincent over right here, 2.5, 3-point made. Gabe Vincent, if we look at this playoffs, and this is a guy that maybe is not a household name to a lot of people, Gabe Vincent, and I'm going to pull up his basketball reference page here and go down to the playoffs. If we look at his 3-point mades, 4, 4, 0, 2, 4, 5, 4. Okay, in both games against the Knicks, 5 and 4, so 9, averaging 4.5 3-point made against the Knicks in this series. He's went over 2.5 in 5 out of the 9 playoff games in both games against the Knicks, as I just said. The Knicks are a bottom 5 teams in terms of 3-point defense. Now, that's scheme. They want you to shoot threes. They want to protect the paint. So it's not that the Knicks don't have a good defense, but it is that they're going to give you that shot. And Gabe Vincent is a guy, even with Jimmy Butler coming back, that is a guy that the Heat's offense is going to lean on. He's been very aggressive early in games. Probably a good sign if early on he hits a 3, because usually when he gets going early, there is a little bit of a lull, and then coming back late in the game, he usually gets shots up again. But I still think Gabe's going to have a big role. He's getting pretty steady minutes. There's really no depth in the Heat backcourt at this point with all these injuries. So I'm going Gabe over 2.5 3-point made. That's my 4th pick for the competition. Let's see here. Anything left in the Heat Knicks? Oh, well, we got to talk about a Knick. I can't just keep picking Heat players. So I'm going to go and look at 2 props on Julius Randle. Obviously, he returned in game 2, had a pretty good game. Looking at Julius Randle over 7.5 rebounds. Rebounds are up at the top. Let's see if I can find this here. All right, Julius Randle over 7.5 rebounds. I think it's going to be a game where Julius may not shoot the ball well, but he's going to try to contribute in other places. The Heat defense, they a lot of times are sending extra help. Now with Jimmy back, they may not do that. Obviously, last game they played a lot of zone. But looking at Julius Randle rebounds, last game he had 12. He's been over 4 out of 6 times in the playoffs, over 7.5. Against the Heat this season, over in 3 out of 5 games against the Heat, over 7.5. The Heat, undersized. We've had trouble on the rebounding with the Knicks. Game 2, we got multiple possessions at the end of the game where they just pounded us into the glass. So Julius is a guy that I think can contribute there. Over 7.5 is a low enough number that I think with his size and strength that he'll get over. And having 12 last game shows that he can definitely do it against this Miami Heat team. So that's my fifth play. And sticking with Julius Randle, going down to his assist, and this is kind of a play on, I think, the Heat defense. Randle over 3.5 assists. He had 8 last game. Obviously, noting the fact that they played a lot of zone, which would increase the opportunities for him to swing, find open guys on the outside. Now they got to knock down the shot to get an assist. Doesn't matter if you make a good pass unless the ball goes in the basket. So 8 last game. He was over in 3 out of 5 against Miami this season. I think, again, it's a low enough number that 3 out of 5, or 3.5, you just got to get one a quarter. And he's going to play enough minutes to give him this opportunity. I think it's really just going to come down to whether or not the Knicks shooters are going to make shots. So Randle over 7.5 rebounds, Randle over 3.5 assists. I know my guy Brian Fonseca posted earlier today. He was using a Randle over rebounds plus assist prop. They don't have that on Bettor Edge, but you can find that in other places. So I'm glad that I'm aligned with my guy Brian Fonseca because he knows basketball. He knows gambling. He's a good guy to follow. So that is my stuff for the Heat Knicks game. We're going to move over to the evening game, which is Lakers-Warriors. Another series tied at 1-1, going to LA. It should be a crazy environment tonight. I believe that's an ABC game. Looking at the lines, it's a 3-point spread. Let me just look real quick at consensus. We'll go to the marketplace, get out of the Heat Knicks. Let's click in here, marketplace, NBA, just to compare, just to give people an idea of what we're looking at. Open orders, external. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a pretty good line. You're not seeing a lot of difference here. 3.5. So if we go back to the competition, we're not getting a whole lot of value there. I don't have a lean really either way. I felt really good about the Warriors in game 2, but now coming back, Warriors obviously struggle on the road. Lakers kind of a resurgence after the trade deadline. I'm not going to play the side. I am going to play the total. So the total is a 228.5. I'm going to go under. It's a great line. Whoever made this line on Bettor Edge is putting it right in smack in the middle of the two games. Game 1 was 227. Game 2 was 229. So you're right there. I think this game is going to get slowed down. I think LA, they want to be big, physical, slow the pace. They don't want to get that up and down track meet that the Warriors want to play. And so I'm going to go with the under in this game. Obviously, that is a dangerous proposition when you consider the fact that the Warriors can light it up. The Lakers can get the ball inside. Anthony Davis, if he has a good game. Klay Thompson had a huge game last game. So going under against these teams sometimes can be a problem. But I'm going to lean that this is going to be an under game. That would be my 7th pick for this competition. Now, 3 props left. 2 of them are on LeBron James, our good friend, former Miami Heat player. LeBron James, I'm going to go under 5.5 assists. Find that prop here down at the bottom. Under 5.5 is a minus 108. It's interesting because when you look at that number, LeBron James over under 5.5 assists, if you would have done this 5, 3, 10 years ago, that would have been easy over. You bet the house on that thing. But in 6 out of the 9 playoff games, he's under, averaging 4.9 assists per game in the playoffs. Against the Warriors in this series, he's had 4 and 3, so a total of 7 assists in 2 games against the Warriors. LeBron James is evolving his game at his old age. And while he is a great passer and one of the best players ever, I'm going to lean that he's going to go under here. I don't think this is the role that he's playing at this point, the facilitator. And if he stays under that 5.5, which he's done in both games, I'll have another dub for one of these props. 2 props left, another LeBron James one and another evolution of his game. I am going to go with, you know what? I'm going to switch my pick here. Let me find this prop here. I'm going to go LeBron James blocks. And I was thinking under because I think, LeBron James, he's kind of evolved his game defensively. He's not as involved. He's not, wrecking havoc like he used to. I'm going to go over. He's been over in 6 out of 8. It's just a block. Get 1 block, LeBron. Go and get Dante DiVincenzo. Go get Jordan Poole making a bad shot. Get 1 block, and that's going to get me a win. Kind of a coin flip situation, but like I said, over in 6 out of 8 games, I think that's a good play. And my last one is going to stay in that department. Anthony Davis has been blocking everything in the playoffs, showing back up as a defensive monster. The over is actually 3.5 elsewhere. So this is huge value if you want to go onto the marketplace. It should be over 3.5. Bettor Edge has it at 2.5 in this competition. And that's enormous when it comes to something like a block that's a low volume statistic. He's went over 3.5, not over 2.5, over 3.5 in 5 out of the 9 playoff games. Now, I will note that he's only done it 1 out of the 6 games against the Warriors, 2 in the playoffs, and then the regular season games. But I feel good about this one, over 2.5. So those are my 10 picks. I've outlined them. All you have to do now is go to Bettor Edge, join using our code 5RSN. You can go to 5RSN-Pick'em if you want to join into the competition directly. You can still get that $20 bonus. It's a great opportunity for you to go against me. All you have to do is make your 10 picks. If you beat me, you win money. Whoever beats me takes down the pot. It's 3 people, 5 people, 1 person. They're going to split up the pot or take the pot to themselves. If I'm the number 1 entry and I win out of those 10 picks, then I take the whole thing down. Make sure you check out Bettor Edge. I'm going to put back up the marketplace here. We do have a lot of stuff going on Bettor Edge today. You can bet on the horses. I do not know a darn thing about these horses. There is a lot of action in here, though, so I'm going to try to see if there's any value. You can see the open orders in there. Who's going to win, top 2, top 3. I know there was a scratch this morning. I think the favorite horse was scratched. I don't know what his status is, where he's probably eating carrots or something right now, but make sure you check that out if you want to bet on the horses. Also got MLB, all the action, NHL playoffs, EPL if you're into that on a Saturday or Sunday morning, PGA golf. There's everything. UFC, I think there's a fight tonight. Check that out. So make sure you're looking at these things. There's futures. Bettor Edge is just piling up props, so you always have something to bet on, and use that code 5RSN to get yourself $20 from 5 Reasons Sports. Have a great Saturday. Go Heat, and thanks for joining our competition.